Hey guys, this is Sleepless Authors here. Now that you have survived National Novel Writing Month, I'm going to talk a little bit about all of my past attempts. I have had so many National Novel Writing Months just start out great and then crash and burn into flames. So let's get started. The very first year that I took part was 2010. Back then, I was working on a novel called Dystopia, which I shamefully still have not finished. This was a near future sci-fi novel, but this was a very character-centric novel, so it was really just focused on a small group of core characters, and there was no big fate of the world thing going on. It was really just a character-focused novel. I'm just looking at the stats on the National Novel Writing Month website since I've worked on this novel on and off and edited a lot of it. So that year I only managed 37,421 words. So not bad, but I didn't even hit the 40,000 point. I worked on it a lot after that, I believe in 2011 and 2012. Right now, it's up to 60 or 70,000 words, but frankly, again, this was back from 2010. In the last year or so, I've tried editing it, but it needs massive, massive revisions. I've rewritten really big chunks of it. So it's changed a lot. That was 2010. That was 8 years ago. I was a lot younger. I didn't know what I was doing nearly as much as I do now. This was before a lot of my formal writing education. So yeah, it's a bit of a train wreck. But so then in 2011, that was my second year participating. So my book that year was called Past Deception, and I did actually end up going a little crazy at the end and getting 66,394 words down. That year I was literally behind for the entire month up until the last couple days, and then over Thanksgiving and the days afterward I just cranked out this unholy amount of literature. That book was a high sci-fi novel, and it was actually set as a prequel to another sci-fi novel that I have. So honestly, it's not my best work whatsoever, and I've kind of shelved that book. I might rewrite it someday and try publishing it, but I really don't know. At this point, it would take such massive revision that I'm not sure if it's totally worth it. Let's keep moving. So in 2012 was one of my complete failure years, so I didn't even put anything on the website in 2012. It was my first year of college, and I had just started a new job, so things were busy. I'm sure I poked at something, but I just didn't make any substantial progress. But then in 2013, that was when my historical fiction kick began. So I've really been interested in the Three Kingdoms period of Chinese history for a long time, and so that kind of took form that year with a ton of research and me working on a book called Beginning of an End. So my total word count was just over the threshold at 50,379 words. And that year too, at first I was meeting the word counts for the first week or so, and then I fell behind, and then I didn't meet word counts again until day 23 or 24. And then I kind of finished out strong and managed to crank something out and hit that 50,000 word point. For that novel, I jumped around a lot. So this is one of my better pieces, even though it is a few years old now. I was starting to get proper critique and, really learning a lot more about writing. So I want to finish this book. I shamefully have not finished this book. I hit the 50,000 word mark, but it's not finished by any means. I jumped around way too much in this book. So one of my recommendations now is if you jump around to stay motivated, try not to jump around too much. Maybe write scenes that are pretty close in your timeline, because in this book, it's really about an entire person's lifetime. So I'd have a scene when she's 20, and then I'd have a scene when she's 30, and then I'd have a scene when she's 6 as a child. And connecting the dots between some of that's really hard. for that novel, I did base it off of real people, kind of like trying to tell their life story. And it was kind of cool because I got to do a lot of research and I almost had like a rough outline before I even started, since I was basing it off the actual events of their lives. It's kind of sad that book's not done, but I do want to finish it eventually. I've been like, since it was so fragmented, I've been struggling to edit it, and it just hasn't been pretty. So 2014 and 2015 were missing years. I got less than 10,000 words down, and I didn't log anything on the website. 2016, I tried a little bit more. So in 2016, I started my book, Lead Me to Leads, and I've actually been talking about this one a lot on Twitter recently, since I'm actually actively working on it now, here in 2018. But during National Novel Writing Month, I did not make a whole ton of progress. That title is also kind of a work in progress. I don't know if it's going to stay when the book is done. This is also historical fiction. It's set in my home state of New Jersey. During National Novel Writing Month, I ranked in 24,219 words. So my average words per day was about 807. But honestly, I'm pretty sure I did most of that like in the first week and the last week, since that was a very busy year. That was back when I worked tech support and we were understaffed. So I had lovely, lovely people working around me, but I was working a lot of 12-hour shifts, as were my colleagues. And I mean, 12-hour shifts of tech support don't make for much time left for noveling in November. So then in 2017, I was continuing the historical fiction kick, and I looked at the Chinese history again, and there's actually a lot of people in the Three Kingdoms era who I would like to write about, but it takes a substantial amount of research. Even now, I feel like I still need to do more research on issues of setting, because one of the things that I constantly need to work on is making sure that my setting is interesting, that it has meaning, that it's not just like a background for a scene, like in a school play in second grade, where it's like it's there but you don't really care. So that's something I'm actively working on, especially in historical fiction, because feedback that I've gotten in critique groups a lot is that China must have been beautiful back then, and there's a lot of just like different cultural stuff that needs to be researched in addition to just knowing the events of history. But anyway, that year I literally only did National Novel Writing Month for the first week. I think I only had 7,000 or 8,000 words. I never even titled the project. It's something I want to come back to though. So at the very least, I think it was still worth trying. I wish I would have pushed harder last year, but I still have, a little chunk of a beginning of a book that I'd like to work on more. So that's why I say that here in 2018 has probably been my most successful year. But, whether you guys won or if you didn't, if you only had less than 10,000 words like I have had so many years, just keep trying, just keep working at it. Just hype yourself up every November and give it a try. There's never anything lost by trying. You guys keep writing, and I hope that you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Bye.